Hey there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, and the other day I recorded a video where I talked about this idea of the niche, the paths, and the container, and the basic model was this. You've got this faucet and it pours water into a bucket. So the faucet is the tactics that you use in your marketing, how you do the marketing, social media, PR, advertising, public speaking, all that. The container would be your business model, the sales funnel. And the niche is what you're known for, your platform, your identity. Yeah. So the basic structure of this is so the paths are the faucet, and the water is money and clients. Your business model is this bucket, and then the niche is the filter for that. Make sure it's clean water, so you're not poisoning yourself. Okay, but this is something that only just hit me a couple of weeks ago when I was in Toronto, maybe even just last week. Because people often ask, well, what order do you do these in? You've got the niche, the paths, the container, or we could say the filter, the faucet, and the funnel. Just came up with the 3 F's the other day. So what do you start with? Do you start with the filter? Do you start with the faucet? Or you just start with the funnel? You know, your sales funnel. What do you start with? And I always just go, well, I don't know, start wherever. But I realized actually where you need to start is with the filter. You need to start with the niche. Yeah. You must start with this because it does you very little good to have water flowing if that water contains bacteria that could poison you and end your life. So you've got to start with that. So then it's just a question of which direction do you go? Do you go from here this way or do you go from here this way? So you start with the filter, but then do you go to the faucet first or do you go to the funnel first? Do you go to the paths first or the container first? Do you focus on the tactics first or the business model first once you've got the niche? And I couldn't believe this hadn't hit me before. It was just mid-workshop. I suddenly realized what it was is if you need money quickly, if you want the fast marketing, the fast approach, you start with the paths. You start with the faucet. You start with the tactics. That's what you start with. And then you build the business model as you go. You know, you figure out, you build the plane as you're flying. And boy, that's a noble thing to do. Many of us have had to do that. You just need the money. So you start the business, but you don't even have the structure yet. You don't have the business model. You don't have a container. The bucket that you've got is leaky. It's too small. And you're just going to build the bucket as you're pumping the water. Yeah. It's very high stress though. It takes probably 10 times the amount of work because the water's spilling everywhere. Yeah, coming out of the bucket and overflowing from the bucket, and you're having to just pump a lot more than you would want to. But when you need water right away, that's what you've got to do. You've got to start. You've got to turn on the faucet. However, if you want to build it slower and more sustainably with less effort, much more efficiently, then you go from the niche to the container. You go from the filter to the funnel. You go from the platform to the business model. You go that direction, and then you go to the paths. So again, if you want it quick, you want the money quick, you just need results fast. Okay, got my niche, and I just start hustling. I go to the hubs. I start getting the word out there. But if you've got time, so what I mean, you have time. Maybe you've got a spouse that can support you. You have some savings set aside, or you're still working a job, and you can build up your business as a kind of side hustle. Then there's no rush. So if you're in that situation where you can afford to wait, I would urge you to. I would urge you not to try to leap ahead. I would think about the niche and then develop the business model slowly, quietly in the background. Nobody even needs to know you're doing it. You just work on that, and then you start thinking about the hubs and the marketing. However, maybe you got fired, maybe you quit, maybe you just need money quickly. Well, then you go from the niche to the platform and the tactics. That's what you do. So anyways, I was pretty impressed with myself coming up with this. Hopefully if you've been to my workshops before, you've been following my stuff, maybe that gives you a bit clearer sense of how these pieces relate to each other. If you have any comments, questions, or just congratulations for me finally seeing that, you can leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much.